Symphony project started off with a visit to the Levine Museum, where we took 8th graders and they viewed the Changing Places exhibit, the permanent exhibit, and they heard a performance of a piece of music composed by middle schoolers. And then we took that inspiration and created our own music, and the art students created their own art, and drama students worked with movements and put it all together and had a final presentation.
Changing Places is about the changing faces and changing society in Charlotte, growing from the mill town to the melting pot of lots of different cultures being in Charlotte. Piedmont as a school is a lot like that as well. We have a lot of different cultures represented. So it was a great project to do with the population that we have here.
It was interesting because when we first started the project, I asked the students, how many of you actually were born here in Charlotte? And I had only a handful out of my 33 students who were actually born in Charlotte. They're from all over the place.
I think it was a door-opening experience for a lot of students to, even though they're aware of the fact that there are many other cultures and people from many different places, I think they found a lot about themselves to start.
I worked with Jen Crickenberger in the Light Factory. Jen is an extremely creative artist, and her ideas are well accepted by 8th graders.
I was asked to use photography to connect to the Changing Places exhibit. So I worked with the students in the art class to create artwork that revolved around the social issues of immigration, stereotypes, and different issues that the Changing Places exhibit sort of brought about.
I learned a lot from Jen, from working with her. So I in turn have taught some of her techniques to my students in my other art classes, and the results have been really good. Anything that is real world, real life, grown up, these are 8th graders. They love it. They will just grab onto that and go with it. It immediately will catch their interest, and it's just a great way to go.
I worked with Alyce Moran, and she is a dance instructor, and we worked on creating movement and spoken word pieces.
I taught them how to use and think kind of outside the box with not only their words and scripts that they wrote themselves, but how they can use their bodies, whether it's through body language or facial expressions. I get them to the point where they're body conscious when they're moving.
My involvement was to work with David Crowe, who is a composer with the Charlotte Symphony. He would come into the 8th grade band classes, teach them about composing, what elements fed into how to compose music, worked with them through the creative process to form their own melodic lines, their own rhythms, their own music per se, give it meaning through the study of the Changing Places exhibit, and they did a background with their own family through interviews and things like that to put meaning behind the music they were creating.
David Crowe is a great personality for string players. He is very quiet, and he walks into a room and everybody gets quiet and just waits for whatever he's going to bring. He's just a very creative soul, and his energy when he walks into a room, and the kids get a lot out of that.
David and I found that we had a couple of really talented composers in the group, some kids that really had the composing gene.
To me, this is the most valuable kind of program because it's truly arts integration, and it's showing how these experiences of creating through music, dance, movement, literature, poetry, whatever. I mean, you make direct connections to everything else that you're, as a middle school kid, expected to know and to work on.
The performance was phenomenal. It was really very moving, and I thought that the kids got a lot out of the topic because we really dealt with what middle schoolers are really struggling with, which is identity. Who are you? Who are you going to be? Where do you come from, and how does that influence you? And that was through the whole entire performance.
Through the Changing Places lens, and that theme, kids have created original pieces of art with their cooperating teachers and their cooperating artists to give meaning to original products. And then we put it all together in a collaborative unit. And that's what's really special about this program, is that we all work together all year long to create independently, but then we put it all together and it makes a wonderful, cohesive program.
I think it's been a groundbreaking kind of a program, and it's been, for me, a significant part of my career to be able to do this with a professional symphony organization, to do this kind of really groundbreaking educational work.
It was one of the most powerful programs I ever taught. I mean, the final product was something really special, and for this age group, for middle schoolers, to make these statements about stereotypes and integration and racism through the arts like they did, it was just a very powerful program. I wish it could continue.